Hi friends, welcome back. We're going to talk some more about frog and toad today. So we're going to start out with a couple of imagining kind of tasks here. So the first thing I want you to think about is, let's say that it's a hot summer day and you're at the beach and you just bought a triple scoop ice cream cone of your favorite ice cream. And you walk away from the ice cream stand holding your cone carefully, and as you go to take your first lick, the ice cream drops right into the sand. What would you do? So go ahead, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to call on two people who raise their hand in Zoom to share what they would do. All right, here's another one. So this time, imagine you're at the playground and you're with your best friend and they're getting picked on by a big kid. Your friend starts to cry and tells you they want to go home. So what would you do then? Once again, I'm going to call on two people who raise their hand using the Zoom, and we're going to listen to them, and then we will get back to our lesson in just a moment. Okay, last time. So this is the last problem I'm going to have you solve. So imagine this time that you are at the grocery store with your family and there are people everywhere. It's super duper crowded. And suddenly you can't find the person that you came with. You're lost. What do you do? Raise your hand and I will call on two people who raise their hands while we talk about this. All right, thank you for sharing your ideas. That was really interesting to hear how you would respond. So there are many different ways that a person can respond to a problem. When your ice cream falls in the sand, you can have a tantrum, or you can say, is there any way I could get another one? Maybe if I tell the ice cream salesperson what happened, I can convince them to give me another, or you could scoop the top part of the ice cream off of the sand, the part that didn't get icky, and eat just that part. But here's my point. Today, I want to teach you that the way a person responds to trouble says a lot about who that person is in real life and in stories too. The way a person responds to trouble, a problem, gives clues as to what kind of person this is. So we're going to pay attention to how characters respond to problems. Okay, so I have Frog and Toad here. And we're going to be looking at Frog and Toad. Now, by this time, we have read a little bit of this book. You have read that other book on Epic that we talked about on Tuesday. And now today, we are looking back again at Days with Frog and Toad. So I want you to notice how the characters in this book respond to trouble, to a problem, and then in a moment, you can think about how the characters in your book respond to trouble too. Because remember, we're not just reading Frog and Toad. You have selected a series of books on Epic for yourself to read too. So you're reading those on your own whenever you want to. So we're going to reread this story that we read last time that's called that's called Tomorrow. And as we read on too, we know that Toad has a problem. It isn't spilled ice cream cone. It's a messy house. But Toad has a choice, just like you do when your ice cream drops into the sand. How will he respond to his problem, to his trouble? We know that whatever he does will show us something about what he is like as a person and as a character. Toad woke up. Drat, he said. This house is a mess. I have so much work to do. Frog looked through the window. Toad, you are right, said Frog. It is a mess. Toad pulled the covers over his head. Zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. I will do it tomorrow, said Toad. Today I will take life easy. So what I do first is pause and think. How does the character respond to the trouble, to the problem of the messy house? What does Toad do? I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to ask you guys to tell me, what does Toad do? So, I heard you guys say he gets back into bed and pulls the covers over his head. Are you thinking that it seems like Toad tries to ignore the problem? He pulls the cover over his head. Go away, mess. He doesn't even want to look at his messy house, right? He says he'll do it tomorrow. That's what you guys noticed too, isn't it? So after I think, how does the character respond to the problem? I think, what does that say about what kind of person they are? It takes some thinking, doesn't it? His house is messy. So he goes under the covers of his bed saying, go away, mess. What kind of person responds to a messy house that way? So I'm going to pause and ask you guys to give me the ideas of how you think or what that says about Toad, that he pulls his covers up over his head. What does that mean about him? What kind of person is he? So I heard you guys basically say that Toad is lazy and irresponsible. He has work to do, but he doesn't get started cleaning. Instead, he stays in bed and says, I'll do it tomorrow. So, what do you guys think of Toad? Any other ideas? All right, one thing I'd like to add is I think Toad is a little careless because he let his house get really messy and now he doesn't even care about cleaning it up. Maybe he's just sleepy. So in our Frog and Toad book, there is a problem. Toad's messy house. And though this won't always be the case, in this story, we can see the way two characters respond to that one problem differently. So, we're going to go ahead and read a little bit more here. So let's think about the same story. And this time, let's think about how Frog responded to the problem of Toad's messy house. And let's think about what that shows about Frog as a character. Remember, the first thing to think about is, what does the character do when there's a problem? And this time, we're looking specifically at Frog. Frog came into the house. Toad, said Frog, your pants and jacket are lying on the floor. Tomorrow, said Toad from under the covers. Your kitchen sink is filled with dirty dishes, said Frog. Tomorrow, said Toad. There is dust on your chairs. Tomorrow, said Toad. Your windows need scrubbing, said Frog. Your plant needs watering. Tomorrow, cried Frog. I will do it all tomorrow. So now I want to pause and ask you, what do you think this says about Frog? All right, so we all know that Frog isn't letting Toad just ignore the mess. He comes inside and he's like, you need to clean this, you need to clean that, you need to clean this, you need to clean that. So what do you need to think next? You need to think that what does this show about the kind of character that Frog is? So what kind of character do you think Frog is? All right, so I have heard so many fantastic ideas about Frog and Toad and the kinds of characters they are. I'm going to use my sticky note. Sticky notes are just so handy. And I'm going to put a little bookmark right here. I hate to put that on top of Frog, but it is what it is. And so I know where we stopped last time. So readers, right now, you have a job. Your job is to head over to Epic and look at the series of books that you have chosen to look at. You're going to go ahead and look at a few pages See what the problem is that you notice that your character that you're getting to know, because you're reading the same series every time. So the character that you're getting to know, how do they respond to problems? What does that say about them? So what's the problem? How do they respond? What do you think that says about their character? So that's a lot. You're going to go to Epic and open up one of the books that you're reading. Look for a problem. What is the problem? And how do they respond? What does that say about that character? I'm really interested to hear what you have to tell me. Thanks for working hard with me today, friends. I appreciate you.